Okay, so let's now get to the next piece of this North Korea thing. I told you a couple of weeks ago that Donald Trump is increasingly taking foreign policy advice from Fox News propagandist Tucker Carlson, making this really the Fox News presidency. I mean, Donald Trump's daily agenda is often set by watching Fox News's morning show, Fox and Friends. They'll talk about something, 20 minutes later, Trump tweets about it, and it's on the agenda for the day or for a week if Trump has not much going on that week. Trump regularly talks to Fox News propagandist Sean Hannity in the evenings and gets Hannity's advice before Hannity puts him to bed. And now Tucker Carlson has been added to the mix. It is truly the Fox News presidency. Now, I will say, it just so happens that some of Tucker Carlson's influence on Trump might be better than what Trump would be getting from people formerly in his administration, if even for the wrong reasons. So, like, as an example, Tucker Carlson seems to be against going into Iran. That's good. I'm also against going into Iran. We don't want Donald Trump going into Iran. We then learned that this weekend, when Donald Trump stepped into North Korea for the first time by any sitting president to shake hands with Kim Jong-un on North Korean soil, that it was Tucker Carlson, rather than Donald Trump's actual national security advisor, John Bolton, who was with Donald Trump on this trip. Bolton, instead, was in Mongolia, not exactly the center of the action over the weekend, while Donald Trump was in North Korea with Tucker Carlson. And of course, concurrent with this, Tucker Carlson is running propaganda for Donald Trump's relationship with Kim Jong-un, saying that to lead a country, you're going to end up killing people in some way, shape, or form. Check out this cartoonish video, Tucker Carlson calling in to Fox News.
Tucker, just one thing that's the type of thing that does make some people nervous, though. President Trump recently made a comment about having a certain type of good chemistry with Kim Jong-un. And that may be true, but when you're talking about someone who has been responsible for so many human rights abuses, does he run a risk with that kind of language of A, coming off to Kim Jong-un like he's pandering to him to an extent, or B, upsetting the American public that elected a president that they want to stand firm and be tough on those human rights violations and stand firm on American principles, which exist in virtually complete contrast to how the North Korean regime is run?
Yeah, I mean, there's no defending the North Korean regime, which is a monstrous regime. It's the last really Stalinist regime in the world. It's a disgusting place, obviously, and so there's no defending it. On the other hand, you got to be honest about what it means to lead a country. It means killing people, not on the scale that the North Koreans do, but a lot of countries commit atrocities, including a number that we're closely allied with. So, I'm not a relativist or anything, but it's important to be honest about that.
Now, this may come as a shock to some people, but Tucker Carlson is right to some degree, even about the killing stuff in a very particular way. Now, I want to be really clear. American presidents aren't killing people in the way that North Korean leaders are killing people. But what Tucker Carlson is right about, and it does not get discussed enough, is that through the decisions of foreign policy that American presidents make, people die as a consequence. And the question is how many and for what reason. That being said, this is a completely ridiculous way to defend Donald Trump, who is being totally bamboozled and conned by Kim Jong-un, period. And that's really the problem here, as I've pointed out. So understand what's going on. As Tucker Carlson is becoming Trump's sort of de facto national security advisor over John Bolton, traveling with him, giving him advice about Iran and North Korea, we have the choice of outrageous war hawk warmonger John Bolton or white nationalist Tucker Carlson. Which is better? I don't actually know. I mean, I truly don't know. At least recently on foreign policy, Tucker does seem to be sort of providing Donald Trump with a less bad point of view, which is stunning to even be saying. It's actually possible that the world would be better off with Tucker off Fox News, where he spreads a terrible propaganda, and as a slightly less war-hungry alternative to John Bolton as national security advisor. I mean, that's hilarious to say. It's also tragic to say that that might be the case. And in the meantime, remember that the coziness between this administration and Fox News continues to be completely disgusting. It's effectively state media, at least for the time being. And you only have to look back at how Fox covered North Korea under Obama versus how Fox covers North Korea under Trump to understand the totally propagandistic nature of this. Look at this.
Would you, as president, meet with the leaders of a country like North Korea? Obama extraordinarily said, I'd meet with him.
Senator Obama made his intentions crystal clear on the campaign trail.
I will meet not just with our friends, but with our enemies.
President Obama likes talking to dictators.
He would meet with some of these madmen without any preconditions.
You know, I'm going to reach out to these crazy people around the world and try to get things done.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake.
Obama is bowing and scraping before dictators.
What is Team Obama doing establishing formal contacts with these people?
A remarkable turnaround in relations between two historic adversaries.
The commander-in-chief's leadership is now leading to a major foreign policy breakthrough.
Another stunning Donald Trump breakthrough.
So I could keep showing you more of the gushing by Fox over Trump on North Korea, but you probably understand it by now. So these are really strange dystopian times that we're living in, and I guess, in a sense, Tucker Carlson is a bigger and bigger part of those strange times. Let me know what you think. Are we in a way better off with Tucker Carlson giving Trump foreign policy ideas rather than his completely war-hungry, true national security advisor, John Bolton? I'm on Twitter at @dpacman, and the show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. Let me know what you think. If you love learning new things, you probably want to check this out. The David Pakman Show today is sponsored by Skillshare, and we're giving you 2 entire months of free access to Skillshare when you click the link underneath this video. Skillshare.
Some people out there may know that hi, X by here, by the way, I have a problem with Answers in Genesis. I don't like them as an organization. I wish nothing more than for their businesses to all fail and for them to return the money back to the economy from which they're stealing it from. There's no good to be had when you mix church with business. Sure, it's great for them. They make a shitload of money. But at the same time, the people in the community are buying something that's an intangible, and that's never a good thing. You need to have goods to go along with that stuff, or at least have services. I can't imagine what the Ark does for you or the Creation Museum gives you as far as services. It doesn't look like it's very fun to go to either one of those places. But anyway, as I'm about to bring up, here in this big giant void space that you guys are currently looking at me down here in the corner, there's an employee that worked for Answers in Genesis for quite a while, was there for the Ark opening, and was there for a whole bunch of other stuff. I got this from a handful of people that thought it would be great to share it with me, and I really do thank them for it. But it just damn near broke my heart, because this is the moment, folks, where you have to realize that whether you're an atheist or whether you're a believer in whatever is out there, I don't give a shit what you believe in. I honestly don't. I couldn't care less if I had people that watch my channel that are like atheist as fuck. I mean, I am. I'm also considering myself a Satanist these days, so whoop-de-fucking-do. I mean, as long as it's not harming anybody, I don't care. But anyway, this is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to having compassion and for you putting out a little bit of empathy towards the other people that are also being harmed by groups like Answers in Genesis and essentially pretty much every other religion that exists on this planet. So here's what I'm going to be reading with you guys tonight. Bam. That is a lot of words. So, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to read as much of this to you guys as I can, because it's from one of their former employees, like I said, and it's sad. Anyway, she starts it off saying, "To those who know and love me, an open letter to the harm I received since 2015 from Answers in Genesis and other entities, having biblically attempted to resolve what happened to me by following both Matthew 18 and any protocols necessary for proper reconciliation." Listen, lady, I feel for you, I do. How about you don't let a 2-century-old, well, it's not even that old, how about you don't let a clusterfuck of bad ideas rule your 21st century way of life? We don't need first millennial books and teachings to exist in a third millennium world, whatever. Someone's going to be pedantic about it. My purpose in writing this is that silence prolongs abuse. And you knew this, we all know this, and yet you remained silent within the Answers in Genesis group since 2015. I'm glad you finally have come out about this, but I'm not going to make it anywhere if I keep stopping every time I read a line here. And I can no longer be silent. And there's a quote here: "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing," from Edmund Burke. Before I continue to say what happened, I will emphasize how I attempted to biblically address Answers in Genesis. During my time at AIG, I worked as hard as possible so that when the time came for me to speak, I would have proven my diligence and willingness to work in whatever way was needed. Moving on. I originally believed that Ken Ham did not know the toxic nature of AIG, but during my employment, I discovered the toxic culture of AIG goes all the way to Ken. And there's no intention of changing the burnout and bullying culture that is AIG. Bullying, you say? What about that Christian love and compassion that you guys all seem to share there? Ken is in fact an active part of it being the burnout and bullying culture that is Answers in Genesis. Man, after leaving AIG, I had the opportunity to speak to some of the board members about the state of AIG, and I did so in an objective manner that identified the necessary changes from a business standpoint without bringing individual pain into it. Greater and more knowledgeable people than myself have also made... I lost my place there. Attempts to voice the same concerns at AIG and suddenly left under mysterious circumstances. It's like they're ghosting people that don't agree with them. That's kind of interesting how shitty businesses kind of do that to other people. That's shady as fuck. Quite some time has passed, and I know for a fact that nothing has changed. If you Google Answers in Genesis workplace reviews or talk to people still employed there, asking for an honest answer and not just, "It's great. I really like working here. I haven't seen my kids in 5 weeks." Actually, that might be good for some people. Herein begins a summary of my life since 2015. In 2015, I moved from northern Michigan to work at the Christian organization Answers in Genesis. During my nearly 2.25 years of employment, I worked in or with every single existing department, starting in guest services as museum host, and over 9 months becoming competent in 5 departments associated with that position. Then moving to point of sale for 8 months, during which time the Ark was opened, and then moving to human resources for 11 months. Hopefully you were like moving up within this company and not just moving around, because that's not how most organizations tend to work. They don't usually work you in every single department that's out there. I could be wrong and be completely out of touch, but I've had the same job for about 7 years. So, anyway, during my time there, I witnessed rank partiality and favoritism, nepotism, inconsistent or non-existent communication, bullying, and spiritual abuse. Come on now. Spiritual abuse, just abuse would be fine. As in, okay, here's the example. Guilt is used as a motivator because AIG is doing the Lord's work, and who are you to stand in the way of that? That is pretty fucking messed up. You get somebody that really believes that they're doing God's work, and you can make them do just about anything. Get them to believe in the worst shit, and you can have them commit all sorts of atrocities, even to themselves. When people proactively try to speak up and change the culture and pace for the better, staff meetings emphasizing submission to authority ensue, or in some cases, people are pushed or bullied out of the organization. Sounds like a wonderful place to work. I don't see why everybody doesn't have a job working for Answers in Genesis. Lest you say that's just businesses everywhere these days. No, it's really not. AIG has set itself up as a pillar of Christianity. No. They set themselves up as a pillar of bilking people out of millions of dollars worth of money and pretending to be a Christian organization, but they're just doing that for tax breaks. And as such is held to a higher standard. No, it's not. It's honestly held to a lower standard than most businesses. It claims to stand on the authority of God's word, and it doesn't. Yet the leadership fails to treat people with basic Christian values. Should come to work for an atheist. We'll treat you all right. Unless you're a part of the echo chamber, if you conform to AIG, then you probably really enjoy your job besides the workload. Oh, cool. So they just want broken, beat down people working for them. The leadership lacks accountability and abuses its authority, effectively making said echo chamber. Ken has built his legacy on the bones of employees, and he knowingly driven into the ground. If you were to make an illustration of it, it would look similar to Dan Lietta's Garden of Eden on Skeletons cartoon. Don't know that one. Somebody will probably share a link with me on that one, but I view it as the hunter killers going over the piles of bones and corpses in the Terminator series. That's what it looks like to me. Ken is the hunter killer in that case, or the Terminator stepping on the skull. Let's see. AIG overextends itself in every department, or attempts to do so unless lower management staunchly holds back the higher-ups' demands. Yet AIG is chronically short-staffed. Huh, imagine that. I thought business was booming for them. I thought they were going to get 2 million visitors in the first year and all that other fun shit. Cool, man. Let's see. Where was I? Okay, there we go. Leading to people sacrificing a work-life balance while being paid ministry pay, notoriously much lower than the value of equivalent jobs in other companies. That's what you get when you work for a Christian company. Of course, the people at the top are going to be making themselves fucking filthy rich, while you peons are not going to be making anything because you're doing the Lord's work. And I say this ironically with my Team Jesus shirt on. Cool. People either need time or money in return for employment. And those who come to AIG knowing they will be on lower pay are usually under such high work expectations that they may continue to work while scheduled to be off, either by weekends or holidays or on vacation. That is illegal. That is against the law to force employees to work when they're not.
Hello and welcome.
you